But we're gonna do as much as we can of 4.8.
What was the highest one that you was?
52 out of 50.
You got that, yeah.
No, are the 2 word problems? No.
No, the guy-
Cross those
that
off.
guy-
yes.
Dana.
Okay. So we're crossing those guys off, we're moving on to 4.8. Now, after we get through 4.8, so next week, you'll get back your quiz, the quiz we just took, as well as any homework that I still have. And then we're gonna review for a couple days, and then we're gonna take a test over this chapter. Now, 4.1 to 4.5 was on your quiz. So the only thing extra we've added is that real easy sinusoidal stuff, and then what we did yesterday, and now the word problems. But you will notice that we've already done these word problems pretty much. Here's what I mean. Number 1, find the angle, this is in your notes, 4.8. Find the angle of elevation of a bird in the top of a tree. Doesn't this sound familiar? We have a tree. We have a bird in the top of the tree. From a point on the ground, 100 feet from the base of the tree. The bird is 18 feet above the ground. Find the angle. Doesn't that look familiar? We've done this before. So what do we do now? We write an equation, and the equation is going to be opposite over adjacent. So tan x equals 18 over 100. Right? Now, how do I do this now? This is different. How do I type that in on my calculator? X equals second tan. That's exactly right. LeBron speaks. Very good. 18 over 100. And then I go to my calculator. He doesn't very often because you are.
Alright.
Second tangent, 18 divided by 100. Oops. Gotta be in degrees here. I got 10.20 degrees. Is that what you got? Help me out, boys and girls. Is that what you got? Well, you're right. Okay, how do I know that you're gonna win dismissal?
Oh, the real, no, that's the real LeBron.
This is the real.
That's not the real LeBron.
3 o'clock, okay.
42 and 17 at the age of 40.
Are you named for him? Are you really?
My brother.
Your brother named you?
He was
You were
young,
born,
he was young,
and your brother, who's older than you, but he was just a kid,
Yeah.
so that looks like LeBron, all right. Okay. Find the distance. Find the distance from a worm on the ground to a bird in the top of a tree if the bird's angle of depression is 24 degrees and the tree is 19 feet tall. Now, pay attention to what the words say. Find the distance from the worm to the bird. So where is X? It's on the hypotenuse. You're finding the distance from the worm to the bird. Don't overcomplicate it. Do what it says. Worm to bird. Okay, what function? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine 24 equals 19 over x. Now you are not going to do this. We only do this when we are trying to find the angle, right, the degrees. So we'll multiply by x and divide. some of you do that in one step, and I'm totally fine with it as long as you do it right. Make sure you are taking 19 and dividing it by sine 24. Did you get 46.71 feet?
Yep.
How tall is a flagpole? That casts a 23-foot shadow when the angle of elevation is 32 degrees. Remember on these problems, our angle of elevation or depression, either one, all of them are right here. So 32 is right there. Now where does the 23 go? On the ground, because that's where shadows are. You don't see a shadow out here. It's on the ground. Okay, sine, cosine, or tangent? Tangent 32 equals x over 23 times by 23, and that will be your answer. 14.37. Now those three problems are identical to ones that we did before. So now we've got a few that might be a little bit more challenging. Let's see. Kirsten places her surveyor's telescope on top of a tripod 5 feet above the ground. So here's the ground. Here's the tripod, that's 5 feet. She measures an 8-degree elevation above the horizontal to the top of a tree that is 120 feet away. All right, so there's a 120-foot tree over here somewhere. And she is measuring an 8-degree elevation. So she's looking up at the top of the tree. Now, where am I going to put the 8 degrees? No,
Top left.
it is going to go right here. There, the triangle, like this triangle right here, is still the same triangle, but now it's just lifted up 5 feet off the ground. So this part of the problem, I'm not even gonna worry about right now. That's gonna be my triangle.
I think isn't the 120 going to hypotenuse because it said it asked how tall.
Wait a second. Let me read it again. To the top of a tree. Oh, that is 100. I thought it was 120 feet tall. No, it goes here. That's 120 right there. The tree is 120 feet away. Yes, that's right. That's the second cornball mistake I've made today. Thank you for pointing that out. The tree isn't 120 feet. Are we looking for how tall it is? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. How tall is the tree? Okay, so here's the tripod over here. Here's the camera or whatever it is. Looking up at the top of the tree, from this point, we have an 8-degree angle, and we are 120 feet away from the tree. Okay? Now,
Is it x minus 5?
I would, if I'm doing the problem, I would just look at the triangle and call this X right here. I would call this part right here X. And then after I find my answer, I'll add on the other 5. Does that make sense? Okay.
Shouldn't it be 120 on the hypotenuse?
Because
It says from the top.
It says that the portion to the top of the tree that's 120 feet away.
Look, it means the tree is 120 feet away
From what?
from where she is.
So
It does say the top.
It says the top
Yes.
is.
Well, no, this is exactly right, okay? I understand where your confusion's coming in, but she is measuring an angle to the top of the tree. So she's looking at the top of the tree. She is standing 120 feet from the tree, okay?
Yeah.
I see where your confusion's
The
coming
8-degree
from.
elevation
but
is where she's looking.
She's looking up there,
Yeah.
right?
On the tree.
So it would be like me standing here looking at the top of the door. But if you said, how far am I standing from the door, it would be the distance on the floor.
It's just together, that's what.
I know, you're right, you're right. but this is how it is,
Yeah.
okay? So let's look at the triangle. What would be our equation?
Tan
8 equals x over 120,
Yeah.
and x equals 120 tan 8. Okay, so 120 tan 8, and then don't forget, you're gonna add 5, right?
Yep.
And your final answer will be 21.86 feet. A U.S. Coast Guard patrol boat leaves Port Cleveland and averages 35 nautical miles per hour, traveling for 2 hours on a course of 53. Okay, boys and girls, a course of 53 would, a course of 53 would look like this right here, something like this. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Now, he is traveling for 2 hours at a speed of 35 miles an hour. So how long is that side of this picture? 2 hours, 35 miles an hour.
65 or 70 miles.
70, so that's 70.
Change course.
Now he's gonna change course.
Draw it on.
Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'll do it in a different color. I'll set up another compass, because now I have to, I'm gonna be on a course of 143. Now remember, I'm starting up here. So won't 143 be right here? And that one is going for 3 hours. I guess his speed hasn't changed. So how long will that one be? That one's gonna be longer, right? That one's gonna be 105. Alright, let's figure out what's going on here. Let's look at this angle right here. Can we figure out what that angle is?
Yeah.
I think we can. Because if this is 53, won't this pink one here also be 53? What kind of angles are those? We call those alternate interior. So if that one's 53, this one's 53. Now, if that's 143, what would this blue one right here be? If that's if that part's 143, the blue part would be not 100 and anything. Just the blue part would be 37, wouldn't it? Because straight up and down is 180.
Yeah.
So what does that make that whole big angle? The whole big one, isn't that a 90-degree angle right there?
Yeah.
Right? And I want to find that, right? So won't that be my hypotenuse?
Yeah.
Now be careful. I know this side's 70 and that's 90. I also know that side's 105, but I'll just use 70. So this is the hypotenuse, right? What's this side?
Which angle is also?
Well, I don't know. Let's look at this angle right here. Let's call that angle theta.
That's adjacent. 70.
So 70 would be adjacent, and that would be opposite. So could I do tan theta equals 105 over 70? Does that make sense to you? And then, what do I type in on my calculator? I'm I'm looking for the angle.
Tan -1.
So inverse tangent. And it looks like second tangent 105 divided by 70. Looks like that angle is 56 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna adjust my picture here to be more realistic. This angle right here is 56 degrees. How did I know I had to look like that? It's not a huge deal, but how did I know that? Because if that part's 53 and that part's 56, don't I have to go more than 90 to get the whole thing? So I just do my picture a little more realistically. All right, now what? I need my hypotenuse. You can do that with trig, or don't I have both of these sides? What else could I do? Pythagorean theorem, that might be easier. I think I'll do 70 squared plus 105 squared. You could also use your trigonometry. You got an angle here. You could use your trigonometry. Did you get 126.19? Remember, you have to square root. So 70 squared plus 105 squared, and then square root that number. Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
So do we even have to do the tan?
We do, because the question says, what is the distance and the bearing? So the bearing will be the angle. Okay? Now, be careful. Obviously, the distance is 126.19, but the bearing, remember, is measured from due north. So don't say 56. Your bearing would have to be 53 plus 56, so 109.
What would be 126.19 miles?
100, yeah, nautical miles actually, but yeah, miles. Okay, now, that problem was possible for us because that angle turned out to be 90. In chapter 5, we are gonna learn how to handle it when it's not 90.
I don't even know if I know the name of that.
Unit circle.
All right, next, number 4. A large helium-filled penguin is moored at the beginning of parade. Okay, 2 cables attached to the underside make angles of 48, 40 with the ground, are in the same plane as a perpendicular line from the penguin to the ground. If the cables are attached to the ground 10 feet from each other, how high above the ground is the penguin? Goodness gracious.
That's a long push.
It's a lot. See if we can figure it out. Alright. Here's the penguin. If the cables are attached to the ground 10 feet from each other, how high above the ground is the penguin? Alright, so one of the cables, how high is the penguin? One of the cables makes an angle of 48 degrees. Would you agree with that? And the other cable makes an angle of 40 degrees. And they are 10 feet from each other.
So if that's a triangle, can you just subtract 35?
that whole angle will be how big? Well, 40 and 48 is 88,
and 180 minus
so 92. Okay. This is a tough one. I know it's Friday afternoon, but we gotta figure it out. Okay? I could if these angles were the same. That triangle is not isosceles. So I don't know what each of these pieces are. I just know they add up to 10. So I could call this one X and this one
X plus.
actually 10 minus X. So yes, you can absolutely do that, but they aren't both equal to each other. Oh, they're not called X, I'll call this H. There we go.
And then you can do total one to the left.
Okay, so tangent 40 equals H over X. Would everyone agree with that? Let's do the same thing on the other side. What's the other one gonna be? Tangent 48 equals, what is tangent 48 equal? H over 10 minus X. Now you aren't gonna like this, but what you have just developed is a system of equations. You have two variables, an H and an X. So you're gonna do exactly what you did back in first year algebra when your teacher gave you a system of equations. So what did you do? When your teacher gave you a system of equations, you either substituted or eliminated, right? Doesn't matter which one you do whatever you like. But that's what you're gonna have to do with this mess. Okay? Here is my thought. And you can do whatever you want, all right? You do it however it makes sense to you, because you're gonna have to be able to do this sometime. If I multiply the X over, doesn't this say X equals, or X tan 40, so H equals X tan 40?
Yes.
I had a hard time saying that, but isn't that what happens if I multiply the X over here? And if I do the same thing here, it says H equals 10 minus X, tan 48. Would you agree with that if I just clear the fractions? Now, they're both equal to H. So can I set them equal now? So X tan 40 equals 10 minus X tan 48. I think it's gonna be easier if I distribute it. So X tan 40 equals 10 tan 48 minus X tan 48. You guys don't be confused by the trigonometric stuff. You're distributing. Tan 48 is a number, point something. You're distributing. Okay, everybody still with me? We're almost done. Now, let's put the X's on the same side. So we have X tan 40 plus X tan 48 equals 10 tan 48. So I'm moving this X over here, so both my X's are on the same side of the equation. Any guesses what I do? There's two more steps. Any guesses?
Cancel out two. Exit.
Factor.
Oh,
So X tan 40 plus tan 48, I'm gonna take out the X, so pull out the X, equals 10 tan 48. And then what's X gonna equal? What are you gonna do to get
10,
X by
10
itself?
tan 48 over tan 40.
10 tan 48 divided by tan 40 plus tan 48.
It's like a real life situation.
It is a real life situation.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like,
It could be. I mean, have you ever seen like the Macy's parade? All those big balloons, this is exactly.
That's it.
Alright, so let's type it in. Now, when I type this in, 10, 10, 48, I like to hit equals, you don't have to. I like to hit equals. And then divided by, this has to be in parentheses. So 10, oh, I forgot the parentheses, 10, 40, close those parentheses. Because when you hit 1040, up came parentheses,
And you gotta
close
hit it.
that.
Oh, got it.
And then plus 1048, and close both of the parentheses then. And you should get
696.
5.696, so about 5.7. So is that feet, meters, what is that? Feet, not very high off the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That is a lot. How I can't remember that. That's why there's computers in the world. No one's doing this.
All right, we're gonna skip down to number 7. 5 and 6 are easy. 7 is another harder one, so we're gonna do it now. All right, is everyone still with me? Come on, I know it's Friday, but come on, come on, come on. I'd like everyone to like get a really good grade. All right, here we go, number 7. From the top of a building, I guess. Here's the building, here's the ground. From the top of the building, a man observes a car moving toward the building. So he looks down here, and here's the car. But the car is moving this way. So the next time he looks down, the angle has changed. Now the car is here. So here was the original position of the car. This is the new position of the car. Does that make sense to you?
I get it.
All right, so the building is 100 feet tall.
46 is the biggest.
The big angle is 46 and the little angle is 22. How far does the car travel? So we're looking for that little piece right there. Would everyone agree with that?
Yeah. So first do tan 46 100 over x.
Okay, so tan 46 equals 100 over x. Let me do it in green here. So Dana is calling this
Can it be Y?
x. Oh, let me change that. So he'll call this x. Our answer will be A for answer. Okay, that's gonna be our answer. If Dana says this is a right triangle,
Yeah.
tangent 46 equals 100 over x. Is that solvable?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Most
So x
definitely.
tan 46 equals 100. So x is 100 divided by tan 46.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm just not gonna type that in just yet. I'm gonna hang on to that. That is not my answer.
Nope.
But I got it now. When I need it, I can just go type it in. All right, what's your next thought?
A minus tan. I don't know.
How about we take this out for a second and look at the whole triangle?
And then
Can
we
we
just
call
subtract that.
this y
Yep.
and find that?
Yeah.
And then once I know y,
Subtract.
I can subtract
Yeah.
x, and that'll be my answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. What is my equation for y?
Tan 22
Tan
equals
22
100 over x.
equals 100 over y.
Bang. Oh yeah, Y, sorry.
Well, no, like really.
First one, that was hard. That's work. Well, not harder, it's not good.
So is everybody with me? Right.
Have fun in.
Have a good weekend, be safe.
Consume this for it.
I'll be 180.
What?
Okay.
Are you okay here?
Yeah.
Dana, what are you doing?
My bad, I was just reading.
You were what?
Reading something.
Like what?
The nutritional values of plastic flakes. I don't know, I'm spacing out, I'm sorry. I'm locked in.
You're not looking at anything like a phone
No.
or a smartwatch or anything like that. You are literally reading the boxes of cereal.
Yeah, I was spacing.
I don't know which is worse, Dana. All right, here we go. So what are we gonna subtract? We're gonna take 100 divided by 10, 22. And then I hit equals. And then minus 100 divided by 10, 46. I got 150.94. Now notice, I didn't have any round off in that. So I discourage you from like typing this in and typing that in and then retyping them in a rounded off form. Try to do it all together at the end, like we did. Okay? All right, let's do something fun, because you need to do something fun. Let's do 5 and 6 with your partner. Right?
Let's go.
So 5 and 6. When we get those done, we'll be done for the day. They are easier.
Alright.
Thought we just did 5.
No, we just did 7.
We just did something. Oh my gosh.
Have you been reading the cereal too?
No way you just said everything.
Oh yeah, I did that.
120 feet with base.
Whoa.
What's that the most pointy eye?
All right, let's go, guys. 5 and 6. Work on them.
What?
If you're by yourself, feel free to join a group.
Oh, we gotta find a promo net.
Point.
Somebody.
100 feet from its base.
What?
The angle elevation of the top of the arch of
I'm just writing this down. I'm like,
Severus
We gotta do DMS.
So where the
That's 34 and 30.
34.22.
That's what I did.
No, I'm not giving it to you.
the 100 on the bottom.
Yeah.
So
and then
100 feet from its base. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
tall.
what I did.
Oh. And then it says how tall is this
Oh,
one?
so you're finding
Okay,
this
so
one.
it's just X
So
and
it's
this is
just-
and 34.22 equals X over 100 and so 100 times 10 or
Okay, wait, tell me what you got for X.
plug it in.
And 34.22.
Top of the solar couch, like 120 feet.
I just got 68.
You're gonna be 110.
The answer?
For the answer.
Give degrees of what?
Degrees, 10 degrees. How far is it?
Oh, you gotta plug it in. There's 10. It's
10,
110.
10. Oh, yeah. 120 over
68?
120.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Plug it in.
Wouldn't it be using like?
I did, yeah, I did see what 01.
68.01. The angle of depression is something. Bam.
10, 120 over 10.
I think the X is the base, and then the 120 is the height, and then the 10 is the angle of depression. But
Elijah just made kind of an interesting observation. He said it seems like tangent is like the most popular. And if you think about real life, what distances are the easiest to measure? Horizontal and vertical.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a real life problem, those would be the two that are used the most often, the horizontal and the vertical. All right, you got it done?
Yeah.
Done? Yeah?
Yeah.
Great job.
34.22.
All right, hang on a second, let me get my equation up here. I'll take your answer, and then we'll verify if you're right.
No, that's the angle.
Oh.
oh, well, I just got it so wrong. There's no way it's 680.
Yeah, it's 680.
Oh,
So, did you type in 100 tangent, 34 second angle degrees, 13 second angle minutes,
Probably.
12 alpha plus, 68.01?
That's right. I tutored Jason on that last week.
And then, how about this one, what'd you do here?
Tan 10 equals 120 over X. And then you do, well, yeah, and then that's X equals 120 over tan 10.
Yep,
And then that's 680.554 feet.
680.554 feet.
That's right.
Alright, I don't know, I'm gonna check it and just make sure, not that I don't trust you.
Yeah, bro, aren't you tonight, web?
You are right on target. Right on target. Alright, we good? Alright, so you can go ahead and pack up, I'll stop there. 4/8 will be due on Tuesday.
4/7 Monday.
No,
4/5 or 6 today. No, 4/6. You can, everyone, you can grab your phones also.
no, you can't grab your phones.
That was a good one.
What you can do is